Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Almost Erased. This show is all about uncovering stories from the past, events that some have tried to bury or erase from history. We've dug them up, so to speak. And now it's up to you, our listener, to decide if these tales are real or not. So let's jump straight into it. Get ready for a deep dive into a tale that'll send chills down your spine.
Ooh, I love a good spine tingler.
Imagine 1920s Hollywood.
The glitz.
The glamour.
The silent films.
But beneath the surface, there's a dark secret waiting to be uncovered. A story of a film so sinister its premiere ended in tragedy and left behind an unsolved mystery.
Sounds right up our alley.
After weeks combing through archives, dusty newspaper clippings, and those creepy online forums, you know the ones,
Oh, yeah.
I found a web of unsettling stories. Early Hollywood, it turns out, is full of them. But this one stood out as particularly eerie. The story of Viktor Kohl and his final film, The Blood Canvas. This film, so unsettling, its premiere ended in tragedy, and we're going to be looking at an article written in 1927 by a journalist, Evelyn Harrow, who investigated it all.
Oh, wow. An actual first-hand account from back then. That's amazing.
It really is. So, okay, let me set the scene. We've got Viktor Kohl, the director. He was like this brilliant but like totally obsessed guy, obsessed with capturing the essence of his late muse, Ilse Brandt.
Ilse Brandt?
Yeah, she died tragically in a studio fire.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then there's Lottie Vale, Kohl's assistant, and the film editor, and she's like our main guide through all these crazy events.
Okay.
And then finally we have Clara Voss. She's the leading lady, and her performance starts to get really eerie, like mirroring Ilse Brandt in some unsettling ways.
So a director obsessed with his dead muse, a film editor seeing weird things, and an actress channeling the deceased. That sounds like a movie itself.
It really does.
So the film is the key to this whole thing.
It seems that way. The most unsettling details come from Lottie Vale, Kohl's assistant and film editor.
She was there during the production.
She was one of the few who escaped the fire. But her memories of that night and of the film's production are just as haunting as the fire itself.
A first-hand account? That's gold.
Exactly. She describes this constant unease on the set, especially during the editing process, talking about these strange shadows in the footage, almost as if they were moving independently of the actors.
Spooky.
And then there's this feeling of being watched, even when she was alone in the editing room.
Okay, now that would really creep me out.
Now let's talk about Clara Voss, the film's leading lady.
All right.
Kohl chose her specifically because of her uncanny resemblance to Ilse Brandt, his previous muse, who died tragically in a studio fire.
Ugh, the muse. A classic trope. Artists and their muses. Always a bit of an obsession there.
And in Kohl's case, it went beyond the usual boundaries. Lottie described how Clara started to transform during filming, her voice changing to match Ilse's, even reciting lines that weren't in the script.
Whoa, hold on. Her voice actually changed.
That's what Lottie claims, to match Ilse's perfectly. And it wasn't just her voice. Clara would sleepwalk onto the remnants of stage 6, the very stage where Ilse died.
That's chilling.
Imagine finding your leading actress in the middle of the night, standing on a burned-out set, speaking lines from Ilse's previous roles.
Okay, goosebumps. I've got goosebumps. What did Kohl make of all this?
He wasn't frightened or concerned. Instead, he was fascinated, claiming that Clara was becoming the role, as if it was a sign that his vision was coming to fruition. But to Lottie, it felt more like possession, like something dark and unnatural was taking hold of Clara.
Two very different ways of looking at it. One man's artistic brilliance is another's demonic possession.
Now, on the night of the premiere, Lottie wasn't in the theater.
Where was she?
She was in the lobby with Thomas, the electrician, trying to figure out why the lights were flickering so erratically.
Flickering lights. Classic horror movie trope.
Right. At first, they thought it was just a faulty circuit, something common in old theaters. But the humming from the electrical system started changing, morphing into something almost melodic.
Melodic. Like music.
Almost like a voice trying to emerge from the walls of the theater itself. And then, amidst this symphony of flickering lights and disembodied sounds, there was a sudden, heavy silence.
Ooh, I don't like where this is going.
A single, blood-curdling scream pierced the stillness. And then nothing. The silence returned, but this time it was heavier, filled with dread.
Something terrible has happened. I can feel it.
That scream would still send shivers down my spine just thinking about it. Lottie and Tomas, they were still in the lobby when they heard it, immediately ran toward the theater doors, only to find them locked.
Locked. During a fire. Why?
It's crazy, right?
Ah.
But back then, Theaters often had these complicated locking mechanisms to prevent, well, people sneaking in without paying.
Yeah.
No one could have anticipated what would happen that night. Lottie and Tomas frantically searched for another way in, but every door, every exit, all bolted shut.
That feeling of being trapped. Knowing something awful is happening and you can't do anything to stop it, that must have been just terrifying.
Absolutely. And as they searched, the fire just escalated, and with frightening speed. Smoke billowed from beneath the theater doors, thick and black, Lottie later described it as the theater's final breath before succumbing to the flames.
Wow. Haunting imagery.
Yeah. And in the midst of all this chaos, Lottie caught a glimpse through a small window in the projection booth.
What did you see?
Viktor Kohl, slumped over the projector, his silhouette a dark shadow against the flickering light of the flames.
The director, seemingly consumed by his own creation. Tragic and, pretty symbolic, wouldn't you say? Was he another victim or is this a deliberate act, a final dramatic gesture maybe?
It's a question that haunts the story. And, as investigators sifted through the charred wreckage, they found something that fueled even more speculation.
Oh, what's that?
Kohl's diary.
The diary of a tormented artist. It's
Yeah.
like that's where we always find their true passions, their obsessions. What secrets did Kohl's diary reveal?
Well, it was filled with ramblings about Ilse Brandt, his deceased muse. But, and this is the strange part, it wasn't simply grief or longing.
What was it then?
He wrote about capturing her soul on film, about using the blood canvas to bring her back, to transcend the boundaries of life and death.
Using art to defy mortality. It's a theme that we see pop up again and again throughout history.
It is a powerful concept. And in Kohl's case, it seems that his desire was so strong, it manifested in some unsettling ways. Remember how Clara started embodying Ilse during filming?
Right.
It's almost as if Kohl's will, his obsession somehow, seeped into the very fabric of the film itself.
Which brings us back to Clara Voss. The change in her voice, the sleepwalking, the lines spoken as if from beyond the grave, right?
Exactly. And now with Kohl's diary entries, it's suggesting something more than just artistic expression was at work here, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Okay, so with the fire raging and the doors locked, Lottie and Tomas knew they had to find another way out. Tomas managed to shatter a small window near the back of the theater. He helped Lottie climb through, but before he could follow,
Oh no.
the floor beneath him collapsed.
He didn't make it.
No. He sacrificed himself trying to save Lottie.
That's just heartbreaking.
It is. It really underscores the human cost of this whole tragedy.
Yeah.
Lottie stumbled out of the theater just as the entire structure collapsed behind her. It's a symbolic end, really, to a story consumed by darkness and obsession. But even in the ashes, the mystery of the blood canvas refused to die.
What do you mean? What refused to stay buried?
The final reel of the film, the one that played during the premiere, the one that held Kohl's final vision, it vanished without a trace. It's almost like a cruel joke, right? This final reel, the one that could hold all the answers, just gone. And Lottie, even though she escaped the fire, she still carries a haunting echo of that night with her.
Trauma like that, it never really leaves you, does it?
It seems not. She claims, get this, she claims when she passes darkened theater, she hears it. The film.
Here's the film.
Not the dialogue, not the score, but something more primal.
What do you mean?
A hum. She says it vibrates in the air around her, as if the film itself is trying to reach out, find an audience.
That's pretty creepy. Makes you wonder if Kohl, in some twisted way, actually achieved his goal, doesn't it?
Doesn't it, though?
Yeah.
What was on that final reel? Was it just the climax of the film, or did it contain something more? So it was something Kohl believed would truly bring Ilse's spirit back.
It's a question that'll probably haunt us forever, right? The mystery of that missing reel.
We've got the mysterious fire, the unsettling events during filming, and then poof, the final reel vanishes. A puzzle with pieces that just don't quite fit.
Right. We're left with more questions than answers.
So, was the blood canvas truly cursed? Did it bring Ilse's spirit back like Kohl intended? Or was it all just a tragic accident, fueled by superstition and fear? We've dived deep into the story of the blood canvas, but, the mystery remains.
Human ambition, artistic passion, the enduring mystery of the unknown. It all plays a part, don't you think?
It does. What do you think? Was it an accident, a supernatural event, something else entirely?
We may never know for sure.
Maybe not. But that's where you, our listeners, come in. We want to hear your thoughts on the blood canvas. Share your theories, your interpretations, your feelings. Hit us up in the comments. Let's shed some light on this mystery. together.